Welcome, everyone, to a truly illuminating deep dive today. We're tackling a topic that's absolutely vital for pushing medical innovation forward. Accelerating first-in-human trials, FIH trials for medical devices. We're basically unpacking a comprehensive playbook here. It's designed for MedTech innovators, for clinical operations leaders, and it shows how to really cut down on time and cost. Our mission, for this deep dive is to explore exactly how companies can achieve, get this, up to 40% faster approvals and maybe 30% lower costs for these really critical early stage studies, all while keeping everything totally FDA and EMA ready, which is key. And the fascinating part is how two powerful forces are coming together to make this happen. First, the unique advantages of Latin America, which maybe aren't always top of mind. And second, the really transformative power of artificial intelligence to AI.
Yeah, and it's impossible to overstate the impact here. Speeding up FIH trials. I mean, these are the very first times novel medical devices get tested in actual people. So imagine getting potentially life-saving innovations to patients faster, not just months, maybe even years faster in the long run, cutting timelines, cutting costs at this fundamental stage. It can really redefine how quickly new therapies reach the market globally.
Okay,
Right.
let's unpack that first part then, Latin America. This idea of it being a strategic hub for FIH trials might surprise some listeners. We often hear about the US or the EU as the default. So what makes Latin America so advantageous right now? Is it really a game changer compared to those, let's say, traditional routes?
Well, what's really fascinating is that the region offers this compelling mix of factors. They directly address some of the biggest headaches in clinical trials. First off, there's just a dramatic difference in approval times, ethics approvals, regulatory approvals. In Latin America, you might get those in, say, 4 to 6 weeks.
Weeks, yeah. Now, contrast that with the 6 months, sometimes even longer, that you often see in the US or the EU. It's not just like a small improvement. It's a totally different timescale for getting started.
Wow, okay. 4 to 6 weeks versus 6+ months. That's huge. And beyond just the speed, what about the money side? Is the cost efficiency really as significant as our sources suggest?
Oh, absolutely. The sources we looked at highlight companies seeing up to 60% lower operational costs.
60%.
Yeah, 60. And it's not just, cheaper labor, although that can be a factor. It's really a combination of things. More favorable site fees, maybe less competition driving those up. Plus, often the more streamlined patient recruitment processes, they can sometimes leverage existing healthcare infrastructure really effectively and increasingly sophisticated logistics as well.
Okay, so that's a powerful 1-2 punch right there, speed and cost. But is there a benefit when it comes to patient access, or maybe even the quality or the relevance of the data you collect down there?
Definitely. And this is where it gets even more strategic, I think. The region has these large populations, and often they're what we call treatment naive.
Meaning they haven't had lots of prior treatments for the condition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about numbers. It means you have a broader, maybe more diverse pool of patients. And because they haven't been exposed to multiple prior therapies, it can make enrollment much faster. And potentially you collect cleaner, more robust data for these novel devices, which is critical.
Right. Cleaner data is always better data.
Always. And what's more, the regulatory agencies like MINSA in Panama or Anvisa in Brazil, they're increasingly harmonizing their standards with FDA and EMA guidelines. So what that means is, as long as you stick meticulously to good clinical practice GCP, the data you collect there, it's highly accepted for global submissions.
Ah, okay. So it's not like you do the trial there and then have to repeat everything elsewhere.
Precisely. It makes that path to international markets much, much smoother.
Okay, so we've established where to potentially go. Latin America offers speed, cost savings, good patient access, and accepted data. But, even in the best environments, clinical trials still have these massive bottlenecks, right? Like finding the right patients can take forever. Verifying all the data is just mountains of work. So this is where AI comes in, presumably, not just to help a bit, but to really fundamentally change things. Let's dig into how AI specifically dismantles those traditional hurdles. What are the sort of AI levers innovators can actually pull?
Right. And if you connect this back, AI acts like an accelerator at almost every key point in the process. Our sources, they point to several really key applications. First, AI-driven patient recruitment. This is all about precision targeting.
Okay.
Tools like Deep 6 AI or Trial GPT, they can identify eligible patients right from electronic health records, from EHRs, and not just by keywords, but by actually understanding complex clinical notes and criteria. It's quite sophisticated.
So it reads the doctor's notes, essentially.
In a sense, yes, analyzing that unstructured data.
Right.
And this can cut patient screening time by reportedly as much as 50%. which just tackles one of the biggest traditional bottlenecks head-on.
50% faster screening. Wow. What else?
Then there's predictive site modeling. This isn't just guesswork. Machine learning crunches huge amounts of historical data, things like past recruitment rates, local demographics, investigator experience, you name it. And it gives you a highly accurate forecast of how likely each potential site is to succeed before you commit resources.
Like a crystal ball for sites.
Sort of, yeah. It helps you avoid costly mistakes, sites that just won't perform, and lets you put your resources where they'll work best right from the start.
Makes sense.
Then there's remote source data verification, or RSDV. Think of AI here as like a tireless, super accurate digital auditor. Instead of flying monitors out to sites to manually check every single data point against the source documents, which is expensive and time-consuming, AI can cross-reference much of this digitally almost instantly, flagging discrepancies in real time.
Reducing the need for so many site visits.
Significantly reducing it, less cost, fewer errors. It's a big efficiency gain. And finally, protocol optimization, using natural language processing, NLP tools. These tools can review your trial protocols hundreds of pages, sometimes checking for clarity, consistency, and making sure everything aligns with regulatory requirements.
Like a super-powered proofreader.
Exactly. Catching potential issues or ambiguities really early that might otherwise cause delays or even get you into trouble with regulators later on.
Okay, so these aren't just like nice ideas. They really translate into tangible gains in speed and accuracy. It almost sounds a bit futuristic, but it's happening now.
It is happening now.
That's a really compelling case for combining these two things, the location and the tech. But for our listeners, the innovators, the ops leaders out there, are there specific regulatory things happening right now that make this easier, real pathways, and maybe most importantly, are companies actually seeing these benefits? Is it real world or still mostly theory?
Yeah, that's the crucial question, isn't it? Practical application and momentum. And the answer is yes. There are specific regulatory advances that are definitely creating these fast tracks. For instance, Panama's MINSA, their health ministry. They actually offer specific expedited pathways for FIH studies and innovative devices. They recognize the need for speed.
Okay.
And Brazil just enacted a new law. Law 14.87424, it streamlines device trial approvals. And this is huge. It formally recognizes international data. That's a big step for global development strategies.
That data recognition part sounds really key.
It is. And even the FDA, back in the U.S., they're playing a role with their draft guidance on AI for 2025. It basically encourages the thoughtful use of AI in trial design and ensuring data integrity, which further supports accepting this globally generated data, provided it's high quality.
Right. That comparison we talked about, especially if you picture it like that budget table in our sources.
Yeah.
It really hammers home the savings, doesn't it, in both time and money?
It really does.
Yeah.
To just recap those numbers quickly, US-EU, you're typically looking at 6 to 12 months just for approvals, and that's your baseline cost. Latin America, you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks for approvals and cost reductions, potentially in the 30 to 60% range.
Wow.
And crucially, the data, assuming you follow GCP standards rigorously, is fully accepted by both FDA and EMA.
And these aren't just theoretical savings, right? You mentioned we have actual examples, companies doing this.
Absolutely. Real-world case snapshots bring this to life. For example, spinal stabilization technologies, they did their FIH enrollment in Colombia and Paraguay, and they achieved it 40% faster than typical U.S. benchmarks. And crucially, they specifically used AI for patient matching, so you see the direct link.
Okay. Technology directly enabling speed.
Exactly. Then there's Regaltech. They used AI-driven site selection down in Barranquilla, Colombia. And that combination led to incredibly rapid recruitment and really high data quality for their novel back pain device. It proved that predictive AI works in the real world. And one more, Persica Pharmaceuticals. They use remote monitoring and AI-powered data validation quite heavily. This didn't just save money, though it did cut their trial costs by about 35%. It also significantly sped up their regulatory submission because the data was cleaner and validated faster.
So clear examples. It's the combination, the region, and the AI that delivers these results.
That's the synergy, yes.
Okay, so this isn't just about knowing the general advantages. Our sources actually lay out a very concrete 5-phase playbook for companies. It's not just a collection of good ideas. It seems like a really structured blueprint. It weaves these advanced tools right into the trial process. Could you maybe walk us through that? How do all these pieces, Latin America, AI, the faster pathways, actually come together in practice, step by step?
Sure. The playbook gives you that structured, actionable approach. It integrates AI at each key step, making sure nothing's missed. Starts with phase 0, that's pre-feasibility. This is where AI acts like your global intelligence scout, finding the best sites, understanding tricky regional regulations. That's usually huge manual effort, right?
Right, takes ages.
Here, AI crunches millions of data points almost instantly. Not just to find any sites, but to pinpoint those Latin American partners with the best track record for your specific type of device. And it helps map out the fastest, most compliant regulatory pathways. It can shave months off your initial planning before you even make a call.
So smarter planning from day one.
Exactly. Then, phase one, protocol and regulatory design. Here, you apply those NLP tools we talked about, the smart editor for your protocol, checking clarity, consistency, compliance with local rules, catching problems early. And at the same time, you're engaging local regulatory experts to prep those fast-track submissions specifically for the Latin American pathways.
Got it. Phase two.
Site selection and startup. This is where predictive analytics really come into play. Use them for deep site feasibility analysis, forecasting performance, picking sites most likely to enroll well and deliver quality data. And this phase also includes using AI-powered platforms for remote training and onboarding, getting sites up to speed quickly and efficiently wherever they are.
Streamlining the startup.
Okay. Phase 3 is patient recruitment and data capture. This leverages AI for that EHR mining we discussed for really precise patient pre-screening, finding the right patients way faster. And you combine that with implementing things like e-consent, digital data capture, making sure you get high-quality data flowing in real time, ready for monitoring.
Real-time data flow.
Makes sense. Then the final phase, phase 4, monitoring, analysis, and submission. Here you use remote source data verification, RSDV, and other AI tools for data cleaning, ensuring absolute data integrity. And all this culminates in preparing your FDA and EMA-ready submission package, maybe even using AI for some documentation assistance. The whole package is ready for review with really unprecedented speed and accuracy.
Wow, that 5-phase playbook really does lay it all out. I'm really struck by how AI isn't just like an add-on. It's woven into every single stage, from the first strategic thoughts right through to the final submission. It genuinely feels like a new paradigm for how MedTech innovation can happen. What a fantastic deep dive this has been. It seems crystal clear that by strategically combining Latin America's, regulatory speed and cost advantages with the just sheer power of AI-driven trial management, MedTech innovators can truly redefine how these first-in-human studies are done, turning old hurdles into, strategic advantages.
Yeah, the key takeaway from all the material we looked at is exactly that. Achieving faster approvals, significantly lower costs, and global market readiness. It's not just a dream anymore. It's actually achievable right now. This combination really is a powerful accelerator for medical device innovation, and ultimately that means faster access for patients.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, our listeners. What potential does this powerful combination, the regional advantages meeting these technological leaps, what potential does it hold? Not just for individual companies saving time and money, but maybe for democratizing access to cutting-edge medical devices globally, and for bringing truly life-changing innovations to patients everywhere much, much faster than we ever thought possible. Something to consider.